Today, in this video, I'm going to discuss about a simple question that most of the people ask from Buddhist monks. And the question is very simple. It is, what is Buddhism? It seems to be a simple question, but it is very complicated when you're trying to give an answer for this question. So let's try to find an answer for this question today. So many people ask that, is Buddhism a religion? Or is it a philosophy? Or is it a way of life? Now, first of all, what is your opinion about this? Is it a religion? Do you feel it is like a religion? Do you feel it is like a philosophy? Or it is like more like a way of life? What do you think about it? Well, this is the thing. If I can give a simple answer for Buddhism, what Buddhism is, this is the answer. Buddhism is a profound teaching and a deep teaching that it is very difficult to put it into one basket, one category, saying this is a religion, this is a philosophy, this is a way of life. Why? Because let's say when you visit a Buddhist temple, if you had the chance to visit the Buddhist temple, you will see Buddha statues. People come and worship to the Buddha statues. They offer flowers and they offer so many offerings to the Buddha statues, and they worship and they do all sort of things. When you see that, you may start to think, oh, this is a religion, okay? In the same time, if you dive into the Buddhist teachings, core Buddhist teachings, and if you read some suttas, what will happen? You will come to an understanding that these teachings, what the Buddha has taught, is so profound and it is more philosophical. It dives into the deep topics in life, like existence and life and impermanence, a lot of things like that. Okay? Then you may start to think, well, Buddhism is more philosophical. And in the other way, if you try to practice Buddhism, right? If you try to practice Buddhism by practicing virtues and practicing meditation, it becomes more of a way of life. Okay? So what exactly is Buddhism? How can we understand? Well, the one answer that I can give when you sum up all the Buddhist teachings, okay, the one answer that I can give is Buddhism is all about Four Noble Truths. The Buddha said, dukkha is the first noble truth. Life is based upon unsatisfactoriness. Okay? Then the samudaya is the second noble truth, and that is the unsatisfactoriness is based on, it origins because of the craving and the desires in our life. Okay? And the third is the nirodha. If you let go of the craving and the desires in your life, you will end up the unsatisfactoriness. And finally, the fourth noble truth is the magga, the path that leads to letting go of this unsatisfactoriness. Okay? Removing that unsatisfactoriness. And that is the Noble Eightfold Path. So this Four Noble Truth is all about Buddha's teachings. Okay? But when you see the Buddhist traditions and Buddhist rituals, you will see people are worshipping. Then it has a part of religion, okay? People worship, but it is not in the way of a religion that people think it is a religion. Because the definition of the word religion is constant worshipping and believing into a supernatural and superhuman being or a god. In that sense, Buddhism is not a religion. It has more philosophical aspects, but it is not just a study of these concepts. You cannot just stop from studying about the impermanence and the existence and everything just as a study. You have to dive into these studies and you have to practice it. It runs beyond the studying. It goes to the practice, and you have to realize by yourself, through yourself, what the reality is. That is what Buddhism is. Okay? So if I said that what Buddhism is, the Buddhism is all about the Four Noble Truths. So that is the answer that I can give to a person who is asking this question, what is Buddhism? It is about the Four Noble Truths and the reality of this world. So keep this in your mind. So we are going to take a look at the concept of karma according to Buddha's teachings. Now, when you hear the word karma, the first question that comes to your mind is, what is karma? What is the meaning of this word? Well, if you take a look at the definition of karma, it gives the meaning of action, right? But in Buddhism, it is more than action. The Buddha said it is intentional action is the karma. In Nibbedika Sutta, Buddha explains this as Chetanahang bhikkhave kammang vadami chetayitva kammang karoti kayena vachaya manasa. Monks, I say that intention is the action, or intention is the karma. And intentionally or willingly, one performs actions or karma either physically, mentally, or verbally. That means that intention, chetana, or the intention, plays a greater role behind our karma. Now, according to the intentions, the karma can be divided into two types. Buddha said there are kusala karma and akusala karma, wholesome actions and unwholesome actions, right? Now, what is wholesome action? They are the actions, they are the things that we do with wholesome intentions, right? Like we do certain things with wholesome intentions like love and kindness, compassion, patience, serenity, right? When we do certain things from our body, speech, and our mind with wholesome actions, wholesome intentions, we generate karmas that are wholesome. And also there's the other side of the karma, that is unwholesome actions. Okay? Now, akusala karma or unwholesome actions is a broader topic, because so many people think that akusala karma is something that is bad when it comes to unwholesome actions, right? Akusala karma is not only bad, but also there's another hidden meaning behind this, and that is there are certain things, there are certain actions that we perform during our day-to-day life, right? They're the things that we do in day-to-day life, like talking and writing and like sleeping and traveling. We need actions and we need intentions to do this. Intentionally we do all the actions, but they are not certainly unwholesome. So the meaning of akusala karma means the actions that do not fall under the wholesome actions or kusala karma. Of course, there is the unwholesome actions or the bad karma or the evil karmas that we do, and also there is other neutral karmas that we perform during our day-to-day life. So they are called the unwholesome actions, right? So based on the intention, the karma can be divided into two different parts, and they are wholesome actions and unwholesome actions, kusala karma and akusala karma. Okay? And the word karma does not come alone. It comes with this word vipaka or phala, right? Vipaka, the word vipaka gives the meaning of result or outcome, and the word phala gives the meaning of the fruit. Okay? Now the word phala is a great word to understand about the law of karma. Let's understand about it in this way. Let's say I planted a mango seed on the ground. In few years' time, what do I get? I can have mangoes, right? And also, if I planted a chili seed, in few months' time, what can I get? I can get chili, right? So, when we plant something, a seed, it has the potential to give the result in the future, right? If I planted a mango seed, that mango seed has the potential, it has the ability to generate mango fruits in the future. Okay? Same like that. If I did a certain karma in this moment, right? If with an intention, if I perform an action in this moment, it has the potential to create a series of experiences in the future, whether it is good or bad, right? So remember, the vipaka is the effect that we are going to get in the future, right? Now, this whole idea behind this law of karma is the law of cause and effect. When we make the conditions for something, then we are going to get the results out of it in the future. Now, the nature of the results highly dependent on the nature of the karma that we perform today. Let's understand about this in this way. Now, I planted the mango seed, right? That mango seed had the power to generate mangoes in the future, right? But if I wish this mango seed to give chilies in the future, no matter how hard I wish, I will never get chili out of it. I get mangoes because it has the nature of generating mangoes. Same like that, right? If I did an action with an intention, it has the power to generate the experiences or the vipakas in the future. So if the nature of this karma that I am performing today has the intention of wholesome, or if I did with a pure mind, a pure intention, it can generate desirable experiences in the future, desirable results in the future, because that is the nature of this seed of karma. In the same way, if I did something unwholesome with an unwholesome intention, I will get unwholesome or undesirable experiences in the future, because it has the nature of generating undesirable experiences in the future. So this is the whole idea behind the law of karma. Now, why do we need to understand about the law of karma and how karma works? Now, if you had a good understanding about the law of karma and how karma works, it is very easy to be compassionate on others, and it is very easy to be compassionate on yourself, right? There are certain things and certain experiences that happens due to our past karmas, right? Now, according to Buddhism, we believe that we are coming from a long journey of rebirth that is called samsara. Now, in this long samsara, we have performed both good and bad karmas. So in this life, we are going to get some sort of experiences from our past karmas, okay? So if you take a look at that, when the tough times comes, when the problems comes to your mind, sometimes people blame to themselves. People hate themselves and think like, I'm a bad person, right? I'm a bad person. I'm a negative person. No, right? Just because you performed a bad karma doesn't say that you're a bad person, okay? Because each and everyone, we are living in this society, in this world, perform good and bad karma, okay? So we don't want to hate ourselves. We can be compassionate on ourselves, right? Everyone is subjected to this law of karma. And also, if you have a good understanding about the law of karma, it is very easy to be mindful and be in this present moment. Why? Because sometimes we worry about the things that has happened in the past, right? We worry about the things that we have done in the past, and we think like, oh, I did this thing and my whole life is ruined, right? Of course, you cannot change the past, right? That is the truth. You cannot change the past. And also, you cannot stop the outcomes of the things that you have done in the past, or the results or the vipakas that you have done in the past. Okay? You cannot change it. What is within your control and what you can change is this present moment. And if you become mindful about this present moment, then you can create good karma, not the bad ones. So I hope you got a little understanding about the karma and how it works. So until next, first of all, I need to ask a question from you. Why do bad things happen always to good people? Now, I know this is a question that most of us have asked from ourselves in our life. So when the miserable things happen to our life, when unexpected things happen to our life, normally we ask from ourselves, why always me? Why these things happen only to myself? What is the wrong with me? So, our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught a wonderful fact about the life. Supreme Buddha taught us, Sabbe Dhamma Anattati. That means, everything is not yourselves. It is not under your control. So, life also not under your control. Remember that. We are living a life. This is not a fantasy. This is not a movie. This is not a dream. This is a real life. The nature of the real life is, it is unpredictable. We don't know what will happen in the next time. Can you guess what will happen in the next time? In the next moment? In the next second? No, no one knows that. Right? And also, our life is uncertain. We don't know in the next moment we will lose our life. Right? So there's a big mystery about the future. Right? So, when the miserable things happen to our life, when unexpected things happen to our life, remember, the nature of our mind is to always regret about that. Right? We have a great sensitivity. We have a big sensitivity to the negative side of our life. Right? There are so many problems that we face in our life when we are living this life. So when we face those problems, when we are going through tough times, when the misery and the unfortune hits our life, we may start to regret about those past miserable memories. Right? So what we have to do to get rid of this negativity is, always we need to look for the bright side of our life. There are so many things that we can be happy by thinking about our life. But keeping away all those good things, we always focus on the negative side. That is why most of the people in this outer world, in this society, they are regretting about the small things that happened in our life, in their life. But they have thousands and thousands of things that they can be happy by thinking about. Right? So what we have to do to escape from this negativity is to always focus on the good things about your life as well as the good things about the others' lives. And that is how we practice to bring our thought process from negativity to positivity. And remember, life is unfair. Right? We think that we are good people and we expect that good things will happen always to us. But remember, karma and life does not care about you. It doesn't care how good you are or how bad you are and how successful you are, what social status you are in. It doesn't care. It has its own ways. Karma has its own ways. So, there will be tough times. And also there will be easy times and happy times. Life is like a book, remember. When we are reading a book, we go through sad chapters. We go through happy chapters. We go through adventurous chapters. But if someone met a sad chapter and if he stopped reading that book, If we stop reading that book and keep it away because it was a sad chapter, you cannot enjoy the whole essence of the book. Life is also like that. When we are living our life, there will be happy chapters, there will be sad chapters of our life, and also there will be adventurous chapters. But if we stop in the sad chapters of our life, what will happen? We will never make our life successful. Remember that. That is why they say, if you focus on the pain, you will start to suffer. But if you focus on the lesson, you will start to grow. So when the life teaches you hard lessons, tough lessons, right? When you are going through the tough times, problems, maybe they are physical problems, mental problems, social problems, relationship problems, whatever problem it is, you should not make that problem a destination, right? You have to go through them. And that is why they say you will grow through what you go through. So what you have to think is, you need to think this life is unfair. And that is why Supreme Buddha said, Sabbang paravasang dukkhang. Everything that is under others' control is a suffering. We cannot expect everything will be happen according to our wishes, because some things in lives are under others' control. And also Supreme Buddha said, Sadharanang vihanyanti. That is a great saying of Supreme Buddha. If you expect the fairness from this unfair life, you will end up as an exhausted person. You will end up as a tired and fatigued person, because life is unfair, and the problem is that we are expecting the fairness from our life. Therefore, do not expect always the fairness in your life. Bad things may always happen to good people. And also, good things also are happening to the good people. So when the bad things happen to you, what you have to do is bring your focus from negativity to the positivity. Bring your focus from the dark side of your life to the bright side. See, there are so many things that you can be happy by thinking about yourself. I don't know what they are, but there are many things. Everyone has bright side of their life. What we need to do to be happy with ourselves, to make our life a successful one, is to focus on that positivity. The more you focus on the positivity, the more you will become happier, and the more you will be able to make your life and remake your problems and faults in your life and live a happy life forever. So bring your focus from the negativity to the positivity, and do not expect the fairness from this unfair life. We are going to discuss how to deal with toxic people. So toxic people can be found everywhere in this society, right? Sometimes toxic people can be found in our family, right? Maybe they can be found in our neighborhood. Maybe we can find them as our friends. So in one way or another, we have to deal with these people. And also, we have that intention that we should not get hurt ourselves, and also we should not hurt others, right? So we need to find a way to deal with these people. So today we are going to discuss about that. So first of all, I will tell you a wonderful story that tells us how Buddha dealt with a toxic person, right? So this is a famous and well-known story. One day, a man came to the Buddha and he started yelling and insulting, and he was cursing Buddha, right? So, do you know how Buddha faced that situation? He was smiling. He didn't make any reaction. Throughout that conversation and throughout that situation, he put on a smile, a positive smile on his face, and he was looking at that person who was yelling at him very kindly, right? So he was very kind to that person. Now after some time, that person stopped yelling, right? Everything that he packed inside him was over. He was finished. Then our great teacher Supreme Buddha asked a wonderful question from him, right? Now it is totally different to the situation, right? It does not suit for the situation. Supreme Buddha asked, do you get visitors to your home? Does visitors visit to your home? Then that person was astonished and he was amazed. And he said, yes, I get so many visitors to my home. Then Supreme Buddha kindly asked from that person, do you treat them with foods and drinks? Then that person said, yes, I am treating them. Then Supreme Buddha said, what if they did not accept what you have treated, what you have given? So, for whom those foods and drinks belongs to, if they did not accept those foods and drinks? Then that person laughed in front of the Buddha and he said, so if they did not accept my treat, then it belongs to me. I will eat them. Then our Supreme Buddha, with a great and wonderful kind smile in his face, he said, same goes with this situation, man. You treated me with rude and harsh words. You treated me with anger. But I am a person who is not accepting anything that you have given to me. I will never accept those rude and harsh words that you treated me. Right? So if I do not accept anything that you have given, then everything that you gave to me belongs to you. Then you should eat it. Right? Then that person was amazed and his anger was cooled down. Then after, Supreme Buddha preached the Dhamma, his teachings to him. After that, he became a follower of our great teacher Supreme Buddha. Now see how positively and how successfully our great teacher Supreme Buddha dealt with that toxic person. Now if we were in that situation, what would be our reaction? Normally, when people yelling at us, we try to talk to them back. We try to prove them wrong, right? We try to control them with our rude and harsh words. Supreme Buddha said, if you treat with anger to the people who is treating you with anger, if you give the same thing, that means you are sharing their food and eating, right? If you become angry, that means you are sharing their treats. Remember, whenever you are in such situations, whenever you face toxic people, whenever people around you are angry, what you have to do? The first thing that you have to do is put on a positive smile to your face. Never show your sad or angry face to them. If you show that, that means you are providing what they want. Because they are coming to you expecting to hurt you. If you show them that you have been hurt, then you are unsuccessful. You provide them what they wanted. So never show your angry or sad face to them. Put on a smile. Be a positive person. Be a bigger person than him. Because when one person becomes angry, right, he becomes mentally weak. Remember, mentally weak people express their anger easily. The reason why they are expressing their anger is because they don't have a strong mentality. So you need to be the bigger guy, right? To be the bigger guy, you have to be positive, you have to smile, and you have to be motivated with virtues and morals. Okay? Be the best version of yourself. Don't try to talk to them back. That is the first thing. And also, you have to listen to what they tell, what they speak. Right? Set apart and leave behind the person. Don't care about the person. Care about what they say. Right? Sometimes they may be yelling at you because of a mistake that they think that you have done, but in reality, sometimes you haven't done it. So what you have to do? You have to listen to that and understand what they say. Right? Give a big attention to what they say. Right? So if they complain you about a mistake or something else, then you have to think, is that mistake prevails in my life? Right? Is that mistake is inside my life? Have I done that mistake really? Right? If you have done some mistake and if that is the reason that they are yelling at you, then you have to correct your mistake. But never show the face of anger or sadness. Okay? Then you have to correct it. If you haven't done any mistake, and still if they are complaining you, then don't try to prove them wrong. Because each and every time you try to prove them wrong, they may be understanding it in a wrong way. Because when our mind gets deluded or when our mind is covered by anger, normally an angry man shuts his eyes and ears and he opens his mouth. Right? He cannot see anything, he cannot listen to anything, he cannot hear anything. So what you have to do? Don't try to prove them wrong. Stay silent. Silence can give many answers to problems. Right? So if you need to prove them wrong with your success. Not with your words. Right? That is how we do it. So you have to set apart the person and listen to what they say. If you have done a mistake, correct it. If you haven't done a mistake, leave it behind. Don't care about that. So the best practice that you can do to generate and to have this skill is to practice the mind of loving kindness. Right? If you love yourself, you will never like to make yourself angry. If you love yourself, then you will have the opportunity to love others. And if you love others, you will never try to hurt those people with rude and angry words. So practice loving kindness, practice compassion, right? Love, compassion, care, these things can provide many answers to the problems that pop up in our life. So you always need to be kind. You always need to be humble. And also remember, being humble is not being weak. You need to be positive, right? You need to have a good skill to handle these situations. Now, this can be done by visualizing to yourself that how I'm going to face such a situation. If you can visualize that a situation like that now, and if you can imagine in your mind how I'm going to face it, right? If you can see that you are having a good smile on your face, and if you are listening to those people, and you are handling that situation very successfully, then that visualization will help you to deal in a real situation like that. So practice that, right? That is how we deal with toxic people. Never provide what they want. When they come to you, they need the anger from you. They need to hurt you. So don't provide that. If you did not provide it, you will handle it successfully. So I wish you all, may all of you have that wonderful skill to deal with the toxic people successfully. So today, let's talk about anxiety and how a Buddhist practice can help you to deal with it. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at what anxiety is. Anxiety is a common human emotion that we feel when our lives are in danger or when our lives are in threatening situations. We feel that fear and worry. So that is a common, normal human nature. But for some people, they feel this fear and worry when there is no such danger in the reality, when there is no such threatening situation in the real world. But they still start to worry about it, or they still start to fear about it. So that is where we can do something about it. Most of the time, people, they hide their anxietic emotions. These anxious emotions, they try to hide them. They laugh, they smile, they seem to be good looking, but inside their head, there are many things going on. It's like the monkeys jumping here and there. They are distracted, and they have that constant fear and worry inside them, right? It's very heavy. So what can we do to ease up these things, and how we can deal with these things? Well, there are certain practices that we can practice according to the Buddhist way to help you to deal with these anxiety thoughts. First of all, the first step is to acknowledge the anxiety. Because our great teacher Supreme Buddha told that every one of us, every living being, is subjected to suffering. Buddha said, where there is birth, there is suffering. So no matter how rich we are, no matter how talented you are, no matter what social state that you are living, fear, worry, suffering is the common ground for all of us. So first of all, we have to acknowledge that my mind has these anxious thoughts. Because most of the time, when people become anxious, when they have these panic attacks and when they have these anxiety thoughts, what they do is they try to hate that emotion. They try to fight with that emotion. The more you fight with that emotion, the more you become angry about that emotion, the more you consider about that emotion as a monster, it will take control over your life. So what you have to do, first of all, you have to think, this is a common human response, or this is a common human nature, so I must acknowledge it. That is the first step, right? Because you can remember the Buddha's word, all beings are subjected to suffering without any exception. The first step. Then the second step, this is one of the most wonderful practices in Buddhism, that is the mindfulness. And you know that Buddhism has a great background of mindfulness. So our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us there are 4 grounds of mindfulness. This is taught in Satipatthana Sutta. So the first one is being mindful about your body. The second one is being mindful about your feelings. The third one is being mindful about your mind. And the fourth one is being mindful about the mental states. So we can do any kind of mindfulness practices in here, but there's an important practice that Buddha mentioned, and that is being mindful about your mind. That is called Chittanupassana. Simply, the Buddha teaches us you have to observe your thoughts, right? So when you observe your thoughts and when you become mindful about, when you become aware of your thoughts, what happens to you? It creates this little space between you and your thoughts. It separates you from your thoughts, because most of the time when we feel fear, when we worry about the things, and most of the times when we are living our life, we think that the thoughts are ourself. That means when you feel angry, you think, I am the anger. I am fear. I am the worry. I am the anxiety. But you are not the anxiety. And it reveals you that your thoughts are anxiety and your thoughts are in fear. It creates this little space between you and your thoughts. It's like let me give an example. It's like the sky, right? Sky is there, and consider the sky as you, the blue color one. And these clouds come into the sky. They are like your thoughts, right? So what is the nature of a cloud? It comes and it goes. Sometimes gloomy, sometimes shiny, sometimes scattered. It takes different shapes and different moods. But still there is sky. It is not changed. So it gives you this feeling, when you do this Chittanupassana, being mindful about your mind, your thoughts, what happens to you is you're watching your thoughts without judging, without comparing yourself with that, and without being worrying. You just watch your thoughts. When you separate your mind, yourself from your thoughts become an outside object. It's like you're taking something to your hand and you're just observing it. Then what happens to you? Then you can take your time to think, oh, what is this thought? Then you can reveal and you can identify, my mind is now in anxiety mode. My thoughts are anxiety. My thoughts are anxious. So when you identify your thoughts, that gives you that understanding that I am not anxious. It's only my thoughts are anxious. And then you have to use your wisdom to think, what is the nature of this thought? What is the nature of this mental emotion? This is impermanent. This comes and this goes away. So it gives you this feeling of impermanent, right? So that is what you have to think. And also, you can analyze this thought. When you become anxious, if you are constantly becoming mindful about, now remember, when I say these things, it may seem like, oh, it is easy for you to say like that, but when we become anxious, it is very hard to do that. Yes, it's very hard to do that. Remember, every good thing that brings the happiness to your life is a little bit challenging. You have to take time. You have to practice it, right? You have to go through some tough situations. when you're doing it, but if you're constantly doing it, if you are constantly practicing it, it gives you the results. So what do you have to do? Just analyze your thought. My thought is in anxious mode. So what gave me this anxiety? Always remember, your anxiety is always triggered by an emotion, a delusional emotion. So you can analyze the thought. What made me anxious? What made me fear? Then you can go deep into it, and then you can find, when you're not judging it, you can find, this is not something to be fear of. This is not something to be worried about. Then you can come back and think, okay, this is just an emotion. This is just a thought. So let go. I will let go of it. That is what gives you this becoming mindfulness. And it gives you, and it brings you to this present moment. Right? When you're analyzing your mind and when you're constantly becoming aware of your thoughts, you come to this present moment, which is very peaceful. Right? When you're thinking about the future, your mind is in anxious mode. Right? Most of the time, when the anxiety kicks in, what happens to you? Your mind jumps to the future. What will happen in the next time? What will happen in the future? What will happen to me? That's what you're thinking. That means your mind is in the future, right? But when you become mindful, your mind comes to this present moment, which is peaceful, which is cool and tranquilizing. You can be here, right now, right here, and become more peaceful. That will help you immensely. So practice mindfulness little by little. This is a simple trick that you can do. Just ask from yourself, what am I thinking now? When the fear kicks in, when the fear or the worry comes in, when you're becoming anxious, just remember to yourself to ask from your mind, what am I thinking now? What are my thoughts? Then you can identify your thoughts, right? So that is the mindfulness practice. And then the last part, show some compassion to yourself. Don't expect 100% perfection from yourself. Remember, perfection is not the success, right? People have this delusional idea to be perfect always. Don't think about it. No one can be perfect like that. Just do your best, right? That is what you can do. So I hope you got some light on this topic. So I wish you all, may all of you have a peaceful life, a healthy life, and may all of you be able to live happy forever. A quick question. Are you having sleepless nights because of these heavy loads of thoughts that are coming and looping inside your mind? Or are you someone who is imagining the worst case scenarios all the time whenever you're going to do something new? Or are you someone who is worrying about what other people will think of me? Well, if you are such a person, you might be overthinking. So let's find out a way where we can get out of our head and quit overthinking and get the works done. So what we can do for this? Well, the first and the foremost thing that you have to do is to realize that overthinking is not going to help you in the process, right? You can plan, you can analyze, but do not overdo it. If you are over planning, if you are over analyzing, it's not going to help you, right? It will distract you from the process. The first thing that you have to realize is that overthinking is not going to help you. The second thing, you can practice to be mindful. Now, this is a practice that you can do to stop overthinking. to be mindful, to practice the mindfulness. So how can we practice the mindfulness? So there are many ways that our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us to be mindful. One of them is to be mindful about the breathing pattern, which we call anapanasati, right? When you become more mindful about this inhale and exhale, your mind instantly comes to the present moment, right? Now you're only thinking about inhale and exhale. You're being mindful about that. Now, instantly, you reduced these thousands and thousands and looping thoughts to 2 thoughts. What are those two thoughts? Inhale and exhale. So when you're thinking like that, and when you become mindful, normally, automatically, you will find the peacefulness and you will stop overthinking about these things, right? So whenever you catch yourself overthinking, what you have to do, take 3 deep breaths in and out, right? And just stay for a while by being mindful about your breathing pattern. Or you can be mindful about your body, right? You can ask from yourself that, how am I sitting now, right? What am I doing now? And you ask these things from yourself, you can answer these things like, I'm sitting now. You can recognize. When you do these things, you can be mindful. If you're mindful, your mind is in the present moment. And when your mind is in the present moment, your mind is in the peacefulness. There's a saying, and it goes like this. If you're sad, then your mind is in the past. If you're anxious, your mind will be in the future. But if you are peaceful and if you are still, your mind is in the present moment. So start living in the present moment, right? When you live in the present moment, when you live right here, right now, you can be more peaceful and you can stop these overthinking patterns, right? And also, there's another part of overthinking. What is that? The what if question, right? So many people ask from them that, what if this happened? What if this not happens, right? What if everything that I did was wrong? They are constantly thinking about these things like that, right? They are imagining these worst case scenarios. So I must say something about them, right? So if you're thinking this what if question again and again, you can ask from yourself, what if everything that I did was okay? You can be positive. What if everything that I've planned and I've done was really great? So that can happen. There is always many possibilities for your plans to go okay. So don't be negative. Always think, I'm not going to be perfect, right? I cannot be perfect, but I can be the best version of myself. I can do my best. I must do my best. And be positive and go for it and take risks. Without taking risks, we cannot be successful in our lives. So practice these things, right? Be more mindful, right? Be more kind to yourself. And always think that if I overthink, if I constantly worry about myself, it will kill the peacefulness of my life. So I hope this video gave some light to your life. So be peaceful and be mindful and get out of your head and start doing the works that you haven't done. I read this amazing Native American parable that gives a deep message about our minds. And I'm going to share it with you today. The story starts like this. A grandfather teaching life lessons to his grandson once said, "There is a battle going inside my head, son. And that battle is between 2 wolves. One wolf is evil. His anger, resentment, jealousy, hatred, inferiority, superiority, and negativity. And the other wolf is good. His kindness, compassion, love, humility, joyfulness, and positivity. In each and every one of our heads, there are these two wolves fighting this battle to take control over our life. Then the grandson thought for a moment and asked from his grandfather, "Well, Grandpa, who wins this battle?" Then this old grandpa looked into his grandson's eyes and smiled and said, "Well, my son, the one who wins is the one who you feed." Ladies and gentlemen, throughout the day, throughout the life, we keep feeding these two wolves in our mind. The more we feed the negative side of our mind, these thought patterns will become more powerful. And it goes to the other way the same. If we keep feeding our minds with love and compassion and generosity, with the positive thoughts, these thought patterns will become more powerful. See, we become more serious about the quality of the food that we put into our bellies. But very few of us will become more serious about the quality of the thoughts that we put into our minds. And that is why the Buddha said, guard your mind against all evil thoughts. Cultivate wholesomeness by avoiding all evil thoughts from your mind. The wise people are the ones who are truly self-controlled. So, we need to be more serious about what we feed into our thoughts, same like we become serious about what we feed into our bodies. So keep in mind to feed the positive side of your life. No matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, there are certain times in life we are going to make mistakes. We are going to mess things up in life. In such times, one of the most common things that we do is we hate ourselves. And this self-hatred can end up in serious situations like suicide. See how many times we say, "I love you" to someone. How often we say? We say it often, right? But how often we say, "I love myself. I appreciate who I am"? This is something that we don't do oftenly. See, in Buddhist practice, the first step of spreading love and kindness is to practice love and kindness or spread love and kindness to yourself. So the Buddha saw that without being filled with self-love and self-kindness, you cannot be kind to someone else. So that is why we have to learn how to be kind and how to love ourselves without hating ourselves. So from this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a few things that we have to understand and we have to practice to stop hating ourselves and to start appreciating and loving our life. Number 1, do not believe in labels. See, there are lots of labels that we have put on ourselves. For an example, your name. Your name is a label that was given by maybe your parents, and everyone started to call from that name, and it became your personality. It became who you are. Okay? Same like that, we are so good at labeling ourselves with our imperfections, with our mistakes, or with our incapabilities. But here's the thing, the more we label ourselves with our incapabilities, for an example, people say to themselves like, I am a person who is being angry all the time. Okay, I'm a person who has having a weak mindset. I'm a person who is lazy all the time. Okay, I don't have any friends. I'm not getting in with friends. Okay, I cannot be with these people. So the more you label like that yourself, it becomes your personality. And that is why we should not believe in the labels that we put on ourselves. Why? Because a label or your incapabilities or your weaknesses or your mistakes are just a thought pattern. And it is always can be changed. Okay? You can always improve. And that is why we should not label ourselves with our incapabilities and our mistakes or from our weaknesses. We always have the chance to improve and to evolve. Number 2, learn to accept mistakes. Mistakes are the proof that says that we are trying in life and we are not willing to give up on ourselves. Every great person in this world has made mistakes, and they have learned from their mistakes, and that is how they evolved, and that is how they achieved the greatness. Always remember, the mistakes will never define your character unless you define your character with your mistakes. So do not let your mistakes to define your character. Always you have the chance to improve and move on and make yourself a good person and improve yourself. Believe in it. Number 3, stop criticism. This is something that is very important that we have to focus on in loving ourselves. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop criticizing others. Now here I'm not talking about the constructive criticism. I'm talking about the negative criticism, okay? Do not criticize others and also do not criticize yourself, okay? Why we should not criticize others to put others down? In each and every time when we criticize someone, we give the message to our mind that we are better than them, okay? I am perfect than them. And you set standards to yourself. Most of the time, these are not realistic standards, okay? And when we cannot live up to our own standards, what happens to us? We hate ourselves. And that is how criticism steals the self-love and the self-value. And that is why we should not criticize anyone. And number 4, believe that imperfection is beautiful. Just take a deep breath and look into this nature. Everything has that one nature that is the imperfection. From the little plant to the great mountain, everything is imperfect, right? There is no perfectly symmetrical plant in this world. There is no perfectly symmetrical mountain in this world. Everything has the imperfection. And as humans, we also imperfect human beings, okay? And also it gives the chance for us to evolve. It gives the chance for us to be more productive and be more successful. See, becoming successful and becoming happy is not a destination. It is not a perfection, right? It is always a journey. We have to keep improving ourselves. We have to keep becoming successful, becoming happy. It is a journey that we go through in this life. So when you accept the imperfections, no matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, no matter how great we are, there will be always imperfections in life. When we accept it, we can focus our kindness and our love towards ourselves. And also, every single day, this is something that you can practice.